Consumer banking discovery is being reshaped by AI systems that now act as shortlist builders for account decisions. When someone asks for the best bank for savings, customer service, low fees, or checking accounts, the answer is usually a curated list of a few names with ranking logic and cited sources that changes the commercial value of visibility. Hey, I'm Mark Huntley, founder and CEO of Siteworks Studio. At Siteworks Studio, we study how brands show up across Google, AI answers, and the public sources buyers trust before making decisions, and how that visibility turns into credible citations, comparisons, and recommendations. The June 2026 LLM Authority Index benchmark for best banks shows a clear split in consumer banking discovery. Capital One and Ally Bank together capture nearly 10% of the total modeled monthly AI opportunity value of $29.1 million, even though they represent only 20% of the measured brands. Capital One leads with a monthly AI authority value of $1.45 million and the highest rank 1 rate in the category at 14.9%. Ally Bank follows closely at $1.37 million with the highest valid recommendation coverage rate and the strongest net sentiment score, 0.7675, with 0 negative mentions across 1,536 observations. The central lesson from the benchmark is that presence in AI answers does not automatically create recommendation power. Bank of America is the most mentioned brand, appearing in 68.6% of observations, but only 17.8% of those appearances convert into valid recommendations. Wells Fargo appears in 60.8% of observations, the second highest presence rate, yet its valid recommendation coverage is 13.9%. Chase appears in 45% of all observations, but its recommendation coverage is only 8.7%, the lowest among the top 5 banks by presence. For executives, this is the visibility to recommendation gap. Mentions show that an AI system knows the brand. Valid recommendations show that the system is willing to advance that brand into a buyer shortlist. Top 3 rate and rank 1 rate matter even more because AI-generated shortlists concentrate attention at the top. The report also shows how sentiment and framing affect recommendation stage visibility. Ally Bank and Discover Bank both recorded 0 negative mentions across the dataset. Ally's net sentiment score was 0.7675, while Discover Bank's was 0.7466. That clean positive framing gives both brands an advantage when AI systems synthesize recommendations. Wells Fargo faces the opposite pressure. It has the highest negative visibility rate in the category at 5.2%, and its average recommended rank is 3.46, the weakest among the top 6 banks. Chase has the weakest net sentiment score in the category at 0.2721. This matters because neutral or cautionary framing can keep a brand visible while reducing its recommendation power. AI systems are not only retrieving names, they are evaluating public evidence, comparison language, customer service signals, fee information, and trust-related context. Another important finding is that recommendation architecture varies by AI platform. Capital One achieves a 33.6% rank 1 rate on Gemini, while Chase reaches only 1.1% rank 1 on the same platform. Discover Bank performs especially well on Gemini with 45.3% recommendation coverage and a 12.1% rank 1 rate, but much lower recommendation coverage on Perplexity. That means leaders should avoid treating AI search as one channel. ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot, Google AI Mode, and Google AI Overviews can each interpret the evidence layer differently. The benchmark also shows that the decision stage cluster carries the highest commercial value. Bank pricing, fees, and rates research has a total monthly AI opportunity of $10 to $41 million. Ally Bank leads that cluster with $360 in captured value, followed by Capital One at $306,764. Transparent, structured, citable pricing content appears to matter most when buyers are closest to a decision. The strongest brands in the benchmark appear to benefit from stronger citation architecture. The public sources shaping AI answers include official brand websites, comparison articles, review platforms, community discussions, and regulatory or trust-related sources. Capital One and Ally Bank appear consistently in comparison and review content with positive framing. Their product pages, rate information, and customer service details are structured in ways AI systems can retrieve and cite. The underperforming brands often show a different pattern: high brand awareness and neutral web content, but weaker positive, comparative, and review-based evidence. That is the strategic layer for consumer banking teams. The goal is not more raw mentions alone. The goal is a public evidence layer that makes the brand easier to recommend, easier to rank, and easier to cite. The leadership takeaway is straightforward. In AI-led consumer banking discovery, the shortlist is forming before the customer reaches the bank website. Teams need to monitor prompt-level visibility, valid recommendations, top 3 and rank 1 performance, sentiment, and the sources shaping AI answers. Modeled AI opportunity value is not revenue, and this is a point-in-time benchmark, but the pattern is commercially important. Brands with clean, positive, citable evidence are gaining recommendation stage visibility. Brands with high awareness and weak recommendation architecture are leaving the shortlist open to competitors. If consumer banking leaders want to compete in AI-generated shortlists, they need to fund citation architecture, comparison readiness, pricing transparency, and platform-specific monitoring.